when everything in you says I'm done. We've all felt that moment. The one where everything inside you screams, I can't do this anymore. When your body is tired, your mind is louder than your heart, and quitting feels like peace. You stare at the road ahead and think, why even try? You feel like you've given everything, time, energy, patience, and somehow it still isn't enough. It feels unfair. You start believing maybe this is where it ends, maybe it's just not meant for you. The weight of failure presses on your chest like a storm that won't pass. But right there in that moment of breaking, something powerful is waiting to be discovered if you don't walk away. The quiet battles no one sees. No one sees the nights when you're alone, staring at the ceiling, wondering if you're wasting your life. No one hears the thoughts you fight when you start doubting yourself, when the noise in your head tells you you're not enough. You show up every day, but inside you're tired. You're fighting a war that no one claps for, no one even knows about. And in those moments it's easy to whisper to yourself, what's the point? But that's the real test. Who are you when no one's watching? When there's no applause, no reward, no proof that it's working? Because that's where strength is born, in the silence, not the spotlight. The divide between quitters and fighters. Here's the truth most people never face. Almost everyone reaches the edge. The line where the pain feels unbearable, and giving up feels like relief. That's where the divide appears. Most stop right there, right before the change, right before the result. They convince themselves it's over. But a few, just a few, decide differently. They keep going not because it's easy, but because they refuse to let the story end here. Those few cross the line, and see what the rest never will. They find out that the reward isn't just what you get, it's who you become. The difference between quitters and fighters isn't strength, it's choice. The truth about pain and purpose: pain has a purpose. It's not punishment, it's preparation. Every struggle you face is shaping you for something greater. But quitting cuts the process short. Quitting feels like relief for a moment, but that peace is a lie, because deep down you know it's not over. Quitting doesn't end the pain, it just ends your chance to win. The truth is, growth hides inside the very thing you're running from. If you can push through the pain, you'll uncover the power that's been there all along. What this message is really about. This isn't about pretending you're never tired. It's not about acting strong when you're falling apart. It's about refusing to give up when everything in you wants to. It's about choosing fight over fear, purpose over comfort. This message is for the ones who are standing at the edge right now. The ones who feel like it's pointless, like they've got nothing left. Because something powerful happens when you refuse to quit. You don't just survive the struggle, you transform because of it. And that's what we're about to explore. What happens when you don't walk away? What changes when you decide, I'm not done yet? The illusion of relief. Quitting feels good for a moment. It feels like peace after chaos, like freedom from pressure. You tell yourself it's the right call, that you're protecting your sanity. You breathe out and for a second it feels lighter. But that relief, it's an illusion. Because quitting doesn't erase the weight, it just moves it into your heart. You don't get rid of the pain, you just exchange one kind of pain for another. The kind that lingers. The kind that whispers, what if I had just kept going? That's the trick your mind plays. It sells you peace up front, but charges you regret later. Quitting might silence the noise today, but it always returns louder tomorrow. The hidden cost of playing it safe. We all crave safety. We want certainty, control, comfort. But here's the catch. Comfort doesn't build strength. It steals it quietly. The comfort zone is a soft trap. It feels warm and safe, but it's where dreams go to sleep. Safe is just another word for stuck. Every time you choose comfort over challenge, you tell yourself growth isn't worth the effort. You start settling for less, thinking it's peace, but it's really surrender. Every time you avoid the hard thing, you trade progress for stillness. You trade your future for a few moments of relief. And one day you'll realize that the safe path is the most dangerous one, because it costs you everything you could have been. How quitting rewires your mind. Every decision you make teaches your brain something. Quitting, especially when things get tough, teaches your brain a deadly lesson, that escape means safety. At first it feels harmless. You stop when it hurts, you rest when it's heavy, but over time that pattern rewires you. The next time things get difficult, your brain remembers last time we escaped, and it felt good, so it pushes you to run again. Without realizing it, you train yourself to avoid challenge. You build a habit of stopping right before change happens. It becomes automatic, comfort over courage, escape over endurance. And soon you're trapped inside a mindset that keeps you from ever seeing what you're truly capable of. The painkiller effect. Quitting is like taking a painkiller for a broken bone. It feels better for a moment. You numb the ache, you relax, you tell yourself it's fine, but the bone is still broken. You just can't feel it right now. Avoidance hides the problem, it doesn't heal it. Every time you quit, you delay your own recovery. You cover up what needs fixing, instead of facing it. And the longer you keep numbing the pain, the weaker you become. You can't build strength without feeling the strain. You can't heal if you keep hiding from the hurt. The pain is not your enemy, it's your signal that you're still in the fight. The comfort-regret trade-off. Here's a truth that hits hard. Comfort is temporary, but regret lasts a lifetime. The relief you feel when you quit fades fast. But the thought of what could have been, that sticks with you. You'll remember the dream you dropped, the chances you didn't take, the times you let fear talk you out of faith. And one day, that easy way out will feel heavier than the struggle ever did. When you choose comfort now, you borrow peace from your future, and pay it back with regret. You can either hurt today from effort, or hurt tomorrow from wondering what might have happened if you didn't give up. The reality check: strength versus struggle. Let me tell you something, you'll never know how strong you are until you stop quitting when it's hard. Strength isn't built in comfort, it's built in the storm. You don't find out who you are when everything's easy. You find out when you're tired, frustrated, and nothing's working, but you keep going anyway. That's where real power lives. Pain isn't proof that you're weak, it's proof that you're growing. Every challenge is shaping you, teaching you, stretching you into someone tougher than before. The ones who keep pushing through the struggle, they become unstoppable. The self-question that changes everything. So now ask yourself, are you quitting because you truly can't? Or just because it's uncomfortable? Be honest with yourself. Most of the time, it's not about ability, it's about willingness. It's about how much pain you're willing to face for what you want. The truth is, the only thing standing between where you are and where you want to be is how you respond when it hurts. That's the trap. Quitting feels easy now, but it costs you everything later. And here's the good news, you can escape that trap, because something powerful happens when you refuse to fall into it. When you decide that no matter how tough it gets, you're not backing down. The decision that changes everything. There's a moment, a quiet defining second, when you feel the urge to quit but decide not to. That's where everything changes. Not because something outside of you shifts, but because something inside of you does. You don't wait to feel ready. You don't wait for the fear to fade, or the path to clear. You decide, I'm staying in the fight. That decision alone is power. It's not about shouting or showing off. It's a simple, stubborn choice to keep moving when every part of you wants to stop. And here's the truth, that one choice doesn't just keep you in the game, it starts transforming who you are. Because every time you choose to stay, you prove to yourself that your strength is bigger than your feeling. The spark in the darkness. When everything feels dark, when nothing seems to work, even the smallest act of persistence can change everything. It's like striking a match in a pitch-black room. The light isn't huge, but suddenly you can see again. That's what refusing to quit does. It brings clarity in the middle of chaos. Maybe it's just one small step, one small "I'll try again tomorrow." But that spark, that's all it takes to remind you that you're not done yet. You don't need a massive breakthrough to keep going. You just need a flicker of belief. That spark might not light up the whole world right now, but it lights up your next step. And sometimes that's enough to get you through the night. The shift within, from emotion to discipline. At first, persistence feels like pushing through mud. You're fueled by frustration, emotion, or even desperation. But over time, something changes inside you. The noise quiets. The chaos starts to make sense. Discipline takes over where emotion once ruled. You stop chasing motivation and start building habits. You stop waiting to feel ready and start being ready. You stop seeing pain as a sign to stop and start seeing it as proof that you're moving forward. Discipline replaces motivation. Grit replaces emotion. Purpose replaces pain. That's not just a catchy line, it's a blueprint for growth. The more you stay, the more your mind learns that you can survive discomfort. You build stability where fear used to live. And slowly you start to respect yourself. Not because it's easy, but because you kept showing up anyway. The armor you build, one step at a time. Let's be real, you won't feel strong at first. You'll feel tired, you'll doubt yourself. You'll question if any of it is worth it. And most people stop right there. But here's what they don't realize. Every single step forward, no matter how small, is armor. Every rep in the gym. Every night you keep working when no one's watching. Every time you fail but try again. Every small win you earn when no one cares. Each moment adds a layer. And before you know it, you're not breaking under pressure. You're wearing proof of your growth. That's how you build armor. You don't buy it, you don't borrow it. You earn it. One decision, one day, one battle at a time. And when life hits you again, and it will, that armor protects you. It reminds you of everything you've already survived. When you refuse, you rewrite your story. When you quit, you end your story. You close the book halfway through the battle. But when you refuse to quit, you rewrite it. You take control of the pen and say, this is not how my story ends. That's the power of endurance. It doesn't just move you forward, it changes your identity. You go from being the one who almost made it, to the one who did. From being the person life happened to the person who happens to life. Persistence turns pain into purpose. Every time you choose not to stop, you give new meaning to your struggle. The hurt becomes history, the setbacks become setup. And suddenly you're not defined by what broke you, but by what you built from the pieces. Resistance is the gym of growth. Think of your struggle like a workout. Every challenge is a weight. Every setback is resistance. And just like in the gym, that resistance isn't there to break you. It's there to build you. You don't grow by avoiding the weight. You grow by lifting it again and again, until what once felt heavy becomes light. That's what persistence does to your spirit. Failure becomes your barbell. Effort becomes your lift. Every repetition of trying, failing and trying again, builds strength you can't fake. You start realizing that every no, every delay, every hardship is part of your training. That's why those who face resistance, head on, grow stronger than those who hide from it. The pressure you feel is proof that you're getting stronger. Don't run from it. Use it. Because resistance is the gym where growth is built. The real definition of strength. Strength isn't about never breaking. It's about breaking and continuing anyway. It's not about never falling. It's about getting up even when it hurts to move. You're not weak for wanting to quit. Everyone does. What makes you powerful is that you don't. You keep showing up even when the odds aren't in your favor. You keep standing when everything tries to push you down. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just a whisper that says, not today. It's the quiet promise you make to yourself. To keep going no matter what. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's choosing action in the middle of it. Every act of persistence rewires your belief in yourself. And one day, you look back and realize, you became the person you once hoped to be. The transformation begins to spread. When you refuse to quit, something incredible happens. It doesn't just change you, it starts changing everything around you. People notice your fight. They feel your strength. Your energy starts to lift up. You become living proof that it's possible to keep going even when it's hard. Your story becomes someone else's hope. And before you know it, your decision to not quit starts creating change far beyond yourself. Refusing to quit doesn't just shape who you are, it shapes the world around you. And that's where the next chapter begins.
When your persistence becomes a light for others still walking in the dark. When you stand tall, others take notice. When you stand tall in the middle of the storm, people notice. Even when you think no one's watching, they see the way you carry yourself through the hard days. Persistence has a power you can't hide. It radiates. It's the kind of strength that doesn't need to shout. It just is. Resilience speaks without words. It commands respect in silence. People might never say it, but they're watching how you move through struggle, how you keep walking through rain when everyone else ran for cover. And the truth is, strength is contagious. When others see you refuse to fold, they start to wonder if maybe, just maybe, they can do the same. When you hold your ground, you give others permission to stand taller too. That's how your strength begins to spread. Quietly, powerfully, unshakably, becoming the lighthouse in someone else's storm. You become a lighthouse. Think about that. A single beam cutting through the darkness. When the waves are high, and the night is black, that light doesn't end the storm, it guides others through it. Your endurance works the same way. You might not even realize it. But when you keep going through your own chaos, you become the signal someone else is looking for. Maybe it's a friend who's about to give up. Maybe it's your kid watching you struggle but not break. Maybe it's a stranger who sees your story and finds hope in it. Your strength shows them the way. You don't have to fix their storm. You just have to shine through yours. And that light, it travels farther than you think. The unseen audience watching you fight. You're never fighting alone. Every single day there are eyes on you, some near, some far, some you'll never even meet. Your kids see it. Your friends feel it. Even strangers sense it. When you push through a hard day, someone notices. When you fall but get back up, someone remembers. You're showing people what resilience looks like. And without realizing it, you're giving them something rare in this world. Proof that strength is still possible. People might not tell you they're inspired, but they are. Your persistence is planting seeds in the minds of others. Seeds that say, if they can fight through it, maybe I can too. That's the power of endurance. It multiplies. Your personal fight becomes a public influence. One quiet act of strength at a time. Inspire or excuse. The choice you make every day. Every single day, you make a choice. You either inspire people to rise, or you teach them it's okay to quit. There's no middle ground. When you give up, you give others permission to do the same. But when you keep going, you challenge everyone around you to dig deeper. You set a standard not with your words, but with your example. Think about it. The people around you are learning from your actions, not your advice. When you stay in the fight, you're showing them what perseverance looks like in real life. You're proving that pain doesn't have to end you. It can strengthen you.
The question is, what are you teaching the world right now? Are you inspiring people to rise or showing them it's okay to settle? Who's watching you right now? Who's watching you give up? Who's waiting for you to keep going? You may not see them, but they're there. Someone's looking up to you right now, measuring their strength by yours. It could be your child, your sibling, your friend, your team. They're watching how you handle pressure, how you respond when things don't go your way. Every time you choose to keep moving, you remind them that it's possible to fight through fear, doubt, and failure. You show them that courage isn't about never falling, it's about rising every time you do. You might think your struggle is yours alone, but it's not. Your example is shaping lives right now. Lives that might change because you didn't give up. Your fight might be someone else's hope. Your fight matters more than you think. The battle you're fighting today could be the very story that saves someone tomorrow. Maybe someone's sitting in the dark, ready to quit, feeling like no one understands. Then they see you still standing, still fighting, and something shifts inside them. Your endurance becomes their reason to believe again. Your struggle has meaning because it teaches others what's possible. Every scar tells a story that someone needs to hear. Every comeback you make becomes proof that pain doesn't have the final say. When you refuse to quit, you're not just surviving, you're serving. You're lighting the path for others who are trying to find their way out of the same storm. Your courage could be the spark that keeps another person alive. The power of repetition. Refuse to quit. Refuse to quit. Refuse to quit. Say it until it sticks. Say it until your body believes it. Say it until your fear has no choice but to listen. Every time you repeat those words, you build another layer of strength inside you. You turn a choice into a mindset into a habit, and a habit into a way of life. Persistence isn't built overnight, it's built in the rhythm of refusal. Every time life pushes, you push back. Every time it knocks you down, you rise again. That repetition becomes your power. That repetition becomes who you are, holding the line until the breakthrough arrives. Here's the truth. Breakthroughs don't come to those who start strong. They come to those who stay strong. When you hold the line long enough, when you keep showing up, keep standing tall, keep refusing to back down, that's when everything changes. The world starts to bend toward your persistence. The results show up. The blessings reveal themselves. The storm begins to clear. And when that moment comes, you'll realize it was never just about you. It was about everyone your strength touched along the way. The moment everything starts to shift. Imagine grinding for years, showing up when nobody's watching, giving everything you have and getting silence in return. No applause, no validation, just effort and echoes. You keep pushing even when your results whisper instead of roar. You wonder if it's even worth it. And then one day everything shifts. Not in an explosion of glory, but in a quiet moment of realization. The weight that used to crush you now feels lighter. The problems that once broke you now challenge you. The world starts to respond to the energy you've been pouring into it. Breakthroughs never announce themselves in advance. They happen quietly, almost secretly, after you've given everything and decided to give even more. That's when the door finally cracks open. That's when all the unseen effort finally connects. And in that moment, you understand why you never quit. The mountain that turns into a stepping stone. At first, the mountain looked impossible. It towered over you. Massive, merciless, immovable. You stared at it wondering how you'd ever make it to the top. Every step was struggle. Every inch felt like a mile. But something happens when you keep climbing. You stop counting the distance, and you start finding rhythm. You realize the climb isn't breaking you. It's building you. And then one day, you look back. The mountain that once looked impossible now looks small beneath your feet. What used to terrify you has become the very proof of how far you've come. That's the reversal of persistence. What was once your greatest obstacle becomes your strongest evidence. The impossible turns into momentum. The struggle becomes your story, and the summit becomes your stepping stone to even higher ground. The truth about success. It's not speed, it's stamina. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. Success doesn't belong to the fastest. It belongs to the most relentless. It's not about starting strong. It's about staying strong when the excitement fades. Because motivation is loud in the beginning, but endurance whispers over time. The world loves to glorify speed, fast results, quick wins, instant rewards. But the real game is stamina. Success comes to those who stay when it's boring, who work when it's thankless, who show up when there's no spotlight. The dreamers who keep going long after everyone else gives up. Those are the ones who cross the finish line. You don't need to be the most talented or the most gifted. You just need to be the one who refuses to stop running. That's how ordinary people achieve extraordinary things. Not through speed, through stamina. When pain becomes power, the same pain that once made you cry becomes the fuel that makes you unstoppable. Think about it, the nights you felt like breaking, the mornings you wanted to stay in bed, the times you questioned your worth. Those moments didn't destroy you, they refined you. Every ounce of pain became strength stored inside you. At first, pain feels like punishment, but when you keep going, it transforms. It becomes proof that you're still alive, still capable, still fighting. Pain is the weight that builds your resilience. It's the test that turns weakness into wisdom. You start to wear your scars differently, not as marks of defeat, but as medals of endurance. That's when you realize the truth. Pain isn't your enemy, it's your teacher. It's the fire that forges the version of you strong enough to rise. The unseen consequence of quitting, the reward of staying. If you quit, you'll never see it. If you stay, you'll never forget it. That's the difference. Quitting stops the story before it gets good. You'll never know how close you were, how near the finish line stood. You'll always wonder what might have been. But when you stay, when you dig in and fight through the fatigue, you get to see what persistence creates. You feel the joy of breakthrough, the satisfaction of knowing you earned it. The unseen cost of quitting is regret. The unseen reward of staying is pride. One leaves a hole in your heart, the other builds armor around it. And the moment you finally see the results of what you fought for, that's when you realize every moment of struggle was worth it. The real formula for winning, it's not luck, it's not timing, it's not talent, it's endurance. That's the formula. The people who win aren't always the smartest or the strongest. They're the ones who refuse to leave the race. They outlast failure, they outlast doubt, they outlast everyone who had potential but no persistence. Endurance is the great equalizer. It doesn't care about your background, your resources, or your starting line. It only cares about how long you're willing to keep showing up. Because luck fades, timing shifts, talent can fail, but endurance stays. It carries you through the days that break everyone else. It's the quiet engine behind every victory the world calls overnight success. If you want to win, stop chasing shortcuts. Start building stamina. Because the only ones still standing at the end are the ones who refuse to stop walking. How long will you fight for your future? How long are you willing to fight for your future? That's the question that separates the dreamers from the doers. Everyone wants success until they realize how much it costs. It costs comfort. It costs certainty. It costs nights of exhaustion and mornings of doubt. But here's the truth. Every second you stay in the fight is a deposit into your destiny. Every time you choose effort over escape, you're buying a piece of the future you deserve. Your future is waiting for you to endure a little longer, to outlast the fear, to push past the fatigue, to stay one more round in the ring. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to have the courage to keep fighting for what matters most. Keep showing up until the storm clears. Keep showing up. Keep standing tall. Keep moving forward. Even when you can't see progress. Even when the storm feels endless. Even when you're running on nothing but grit. Keep going. Because every time you show up, you shift the tide a little more. Every time you refuse to quit, you're pushing back against the storm. And one day the clouds break. The light cuts through. The air feels different. You realize the storm didn't destroy you. It revealed you. That's the moment you've been fighting for. The breakthrough that only comes after every ounce of endurance has been tested. And when you've made it through the storm, you'll understand what real power feels like. Not the power of control, but the power of persistence. The kind that can't be shaken, can't be taken, can't be broken. You earned that power. You built it one day, one fight, one choice at a time. The shift from running away to running through. The old you ran from struggle. The new you runs toward it. That's the difference persistence makes. You stop fearing the hard moments and start facing them head on. What once made you freeze now fuels you. What once felt like pressure now feels like purpose. The person you used to be avoided pain, looking for the shortcut, hoping for the easy way out. But through every test, every setback, every moment you wanted to quit but didn't, you changed. You learned that real peace doesn't come from avoiding the fight. It comes from surviving it. Every obstacle became a chance to grow. Every challenge became proof that you were built for more. And now when life gets tough, you don't run anymore. You were forged in fire, becoming unbreakable. You've been forged like steel in fire. The flames that once felt unbearable have shaped you. Every trial, every failure, every heartbreak, it all burned away the weakness and left behind strength. The heat didn't destroy you, it refined you. That's what endurance does. It hardens your resolve. It strengthens your core. It turns fear into focus and doubt into drive. You've been tested, bent, stretched and scarred. But through it all, you've learned something powerful. You don't break easily anymore. You bend, you adapt. You endure. You face the fire and come out sharper, stronger, and unshakable. You don't crumble under pressure now. You thrive in it, because you know who you are, and more importantly, you know what it took to become this version of you. From validation to self-respect. There was a time when you needed others to tell you you were enough. You chased approval, hoping someone else's praise would make you feel whole. But not anymore. Now you know your worth. Not because someone said it, but because you proved it. You earned it through persistence, through staying when others left, through doing what most people wouldn't. You stop chasing validation when you start trusting yourself, because you've seen what you can handle. You've seen what you can build. The applause doesn't matter anymore. The respect of others isn't what drives you. You've built something more powerful, self-respect. And that's something no one can take away, turning failure into fuel. You don't fear failure anymore. You've learned to use it. Every mistake taught you something. Every setback showed you a weakness to strengthen. Every no redirected you towards something better. You stopped seeing failure as the end and started seeing it as part of the process. That's the turning point. When you realize failure isn't the opposite of success. It's the foundation of it. You learn to listen to what failure is trying to tell you. You adjust. You grow. You come back stronger. Pain becomes information. Struggle becomes feedback. And each failure becomes fuel for the next victory. The difference now is simple. You don't let failure define you. You let it drive you. The tough love reality. The world owes you nothing. Let's be honest. The world doesn't owe you easy. It doesn't owe you comfort. It doesn't owe you anything. But it will respect your persistence. It will notice when you show up again and again. When you take the hits and keep moving. When you turn every obstacle into an opportunity. That's the truth too many people avoid. Respect isn't given. It's earned. Every time you push through when others quit, you're earning it. Every time you refuse to complain and keep working, you're earning it. Life won't hand you what you want, but it will give you what you fight for. And when you understand that, you stop waiting for the world to be fair, and you start creating your own results. You built this version of you. You've earned this strength. You've built this mindset. You've created this version of you. No one gave it to you. No one handed it over. You built it through sweat, through pain, through every single day you didn't quit. You might have started uncertain, scared, or broken. But look at you now. You stand with confidence that wasn't born overnight. It was carved out of effort. It was built from the ground up. This is the real reward of persistence. Not just success, but identity. You didn't just reach a goal. You became someone different. Someone solid. Someone unbreakable. The question that defines what comes next. So now the question is, what will you do next? You've survived the hard part. You've built strength most people will never understand. You've proven you can handle more than you thought possible. But this isn't the end. It's the beginning of something greater. Because once you realize how powerful you are, you can't go back to living small. Will you keep pushing? Will you keep growing? Will you use this strength not just to change your life, but to lift others too? The new you is ready. The question is, will you keep becoming even better? Because when you refuse to quit, the story never ends. It just keeps rising. The hard truth about quitting and greatness. Quitting is easy. Enduring is rare. And rare is what changes the world. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. The easy path will always call your name. It promises rest, comfort, and relief. But it never delivers greatness. The easy path kills potential. It keeps dreams buried under fear. You have to understand. Anyone can quit when it's hard. That's what makes endurance special. That's what makes it powerful. Because greatness is not built on comfort. It's built on struggle, sacrifice, and persist. Every person who ever changed the world had a reason to quit, but they didn't. They kept going when it didn't make sense, when no one believed, when everything in them wanted to stop. And that's why their names live on. So ask yourself, do you want to be like everyone else, or one of the few who refuse to give up when it hurts, when it's dark, when no one believes? Keep going. Refuse to quit when it hurts. Refuse to quit when it's dark. Refuse to quit when no one believes. That's where the real fight happens. Not when it's easy, not when everyone's cheering, but when you're alone, tired, and questioning everything. Those moments are your defining ones. They separate the ones who talk about strength from the ones who live. Every champion has faced nights of doubt. Every fighter has been knocked down. But they rise again and again. They rise when it's painful. They rise when they're scared. They rise because quitting would mean wasting everything they've already fought for. You've been through too much to stop now. You've worked too hard to throw it away because it hurts. The pain is proof you're growing. The struggle is the sign you're close. So no matter how heavy it feels, keep going. Life is a battle, and you're built to fight. This life is a fight, and every time you refuse to quit, you win another round. You may not realize it, but each day you get up, each day you face what scares you, you're already winning. You're defeating fear. You're defeating doubt. You're defeating weakness. You weren't made to live on the sidelines. You were built for the battlefield. Every scar you carry is proof of a fight survived. Every lesson learned is a victory earned. So fight for your future. Fight for your peace. Fight for the life you know you're meant to have. Because the truth is, strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you earn every single time you refuse to surrender. You are a fighter, You've always been one. You just needed to remember it. Stand up and face the struggle head on. So stand up, breathe deep, look your struggle in the eye, and keep going. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to feel strong every moment. You just need to take the next step. That's it. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward while fear whispers in your ear. It's standing tall when your knees shake. It's refusing to let the weight of life crush the fire inside you. You've been knocked down before, but you got up. You've been broken before, but you healed. You've faced storms before, and you're still here. That's strength. That's who you are. So don't back down now. The fight in front of you is nothing compared to the power inside of you. The rise after refusal, because when you refuse to quit, you don't just survive. You rise. You rise from the pain. You rise from the doubt. You rise from the moments that tried to break you. And with every rise, you become more of who you were meant to be. That's the beauty of persistence. It doesn't just build success. It builds identity. It turns ordinary people into warriors. It turns struggle into strength. It turns defeat into wisdom. So let this be your moment. The moment you decide that quitting is no longer an option. The moment you choose to rise. No matter what stands in your way. Because you've seen what happens when you quit. But now it's time to live what happens when you don't refuse to quit. No matter what.